Good morning, I'm Marilena Tarantino from POLI.design, and today I will be moderating the presentation of the Specializing Master in Lighting Design and Technology. Please feel free to use the chat box to submit any questions you have, which we will address in the second part of the session. Now, let me introduce the speaker, Andrea Siniscalco. I leave you the floor.
Thank you very much. I am Andrea Siniscalco, the Vice Director of the Master, and the Scientific Director of the Master is Professor Maurizio Rossi. We are academic experts in lighting design and everything related to light and color. The Master itself is a didactic path that has the sole purpose to put students in condition to enter the world of lighting design, which is a profession that is not very well known, but there is a lot of requests from manufacturers and studio. Lighting design must be intended as a way to promote personal well-being activities and improvements in the world of work for both the commercial activity, the industrial activity, and the safety and well-being of workers. Artificial lighting is today part of the common approach to the job, is actually a primary need, and because the day has extended way longer than the normal condition of natural lighting, and it is necessary in various environments in which also there is a necessity to illuminate because of the lack of natural lighting or because of night shifts or other situations like that. The development of these activities, the ability to create also beauty towards lighting, is also an index of development of a country, the ability of using also light to create urban beautification and improvement from the safety point of view for streets, for having more safety in parks and cities. The goal of the Master is to train professionals that can tackle the entire process of lighting design, starting from the concept, going through early drawings, a process of review with clients, and technical drawings, final drawings, and implement a project and then maintain the project during the years according to the standards and also with the common request by the client. There are many fields of applications for the lighting design, and there can be more industrial, they can be related to retail, they can be related to cultural heritage. The point is that everything that exists and it's used by human beings must be somehow illuminated, and the ability to do that in a professional way is not a skill that is so well known, but it's essential and necessary. So there are many modules inside of the Master in Lighting Design. Some are more theoretical, which are the part of the fundamentals. There is theory of lighting design, lighting engineering, connected lighting, and in which you will understand from a physical point of view how to treat the unit of measure, so luminance, illuminance, luminous flux, luminous intensity, the relation between them, also the mathematics behind the calculation done by the software, understanding how light works from a physical point of view, but as well the possibility of knowing more about the sun and the natural lighting in a module of daylighting, a module of also the use of lighting for entertainment, so live stage, fashion shows, everything related to the show business. And also there will be a module of connected lighting, LED technology, because as the technology evolves, also the possibilities given by the lighting are improving. So our master put the student in condition to control at best all the aspects of lighting design. Then also there will be perception. How do we perceive light? The interaction between light, materials, and the observer is an interesting cycle. The phenomenon of visual perception cannot exist with in the absence of one of these three elements, and every element has its peculiarity. Light has its own physical quantities, material have their way to interact with light, but also the observer have many mechanisms that can change the perception of what you see in relation to different conditions of light, different situation, in a way that might be unexpected and not linear or directly measurable with normal instruments. Then there will be also the possibility of knowing more about the design of light from a 3D point of view, the management of a 3D model, the integration of specific lighting design softwares with the BIM, the Building Information and Modeling Environment, so to understand the new challenges for the future in terms of possibility of managing a project also together with other groups like electricians, like people that manage thermal ventilations and other aspects and other elements inside of a building. Other than all the theories, so the fundamentals that are basically the bones of lighting design, there will be project works. After you learn how to, what are the materials on which you are working, you will need to put it in practice in the project works. The project work phase is a part in which students work in group, while the fundamentals are more intended as individual study and individual preparation. The project work will put the students in the condition to act as a small studio. So together with the teacher, they will confront the various topics that are typical of lighting design, and we will treat like hospitality, so hospital, hostels, cruise ships, hospital, whatever the place that can host people in many different situations. The teacher will present the typical issue of the topic, and then there will be revisions back and forth with the student that will have to present a project. One of the most important part is that the project must be completely feasible. Many people think that light is only painting with light, so giving the impression of creating an artistic situation. But truth is that you cannot express your creativity if you don't have the tools to do it. So our goal is to give the students the possibility to express their creativity, giving them the technical tools to realize it. So when we say that the project must be feasible, we intend exactly, if you want to create an effect, what is the luminaire that allow you to do that? What are the aiming of the luminaire? What are the powers implied, the efficiency of the luminaire? What's the flux? What's the color temperature, the color rendering? So a lot of elements that together will be creating the project. So the project work will be, again, hospitality, lighting for exteriors, in which you will design aspects of urban environments, such as facades, squares, streets, urban beautification. Lighting design for cultural heritage. Italy is a place of beauty and cultural heritage. We have a lot of different elements and different situations that must be illuminated. So we also think to exhibits, monuments, statues, archaeological sites. Then obviously another very popular field is retail, lighting for commercial interior. So you have to sell products, and these products may be whatever. So retail is meant to be toys, jewelry stores, clothes stores, and every different situation can lead to different projects. A particular module, as I said, is the one of CAD and BIM. So we will see two softwares. One is a specific software for lighting design that allow the students to check their project. The software is not the designer itself. The software is used to check the validity and the quality of their concepts and their projects. And then BIM Authority, a software that can be used as a database to communicate the project as well. And last but not least, there will be a module of professional empowerment, in which the students will be coming in contact with professional realities. They will learn how to deal with them in terms of being a professional figure, learning how to create contacts and to manage their personas inside of the world of work. There is a quote here from Tadao Ando that says, "As primary, it is light that brings material to life and gives architecture its form. A single beam of light allows the surface to express itself and creates shadows beneath the object." This is an interesting quote because it put in evidence the dichotomy between light and shadow. Only light placed into spaces without using properly also the shadows will not create an interesting result. This is Buckingham Palace. As you can see, light is very radiant to the facade, is creating a dialogue between the columns. So you have both light and shadow. Imagine this, the same building, the same very building illuminated from the front with all the shadows disappearing, and everything will look flat. This doesn't though mean that the washing of spaces with light is not allowed. There are places that will work very well also with that type of illumination. The point is being able to understand where to use shadows, when to use shadows, and what are these type of situations that you can design with luminous and techniques. Also, lighting engineering measurements, in order to understand what you need first to do surveys and also understand the index of reflection of materials, how much natural light you have in spaces, and what you have to do in order to intervene and do your project. Connected lighting allow you to control luminous. Thanks to the technological evolution in the last 10 years, basically light has become digital. And there is the possibility of doing basically everything if you know how to control the light source. You can change color, you can change intensity, color temperature, so giving a more warm light, a more cold light. And this is important because the different colors and the different shades of white also affect human beings from a physiological and a psychological point of view. So it is very important also to control light best. Inside of the fundamentals, we have, as I said, also a module that speaks about light for entertainment, because it's interesting and important to be able to steal from a more noisy and colored world, also to apply that in architecture, or to dedicate yourself to this type of field that has an interesting opportunity as well. These are some examples of project works that have been developed by our students. They're mainly on exterior facades, the study of daylighting, the valorization of cultural sites, and also retail spaces. All these elements are important, and the part of the project will be addressed by professionals. So when the fundamentals are done more by academics that will explain the physical nature of light, because light is indeed a very powerful tool of communication and valorization for architecture projects, but it is also a physical quantity that can be measured, controlled, and directed where it's needed. So fundamental more given by academics, while the project work will be taught by real professionals, so lighting designers that can be architects, they can be engineers, they can be designers, or with their own very personal approach. So by seeing different point of view, the students will be available to, they will be put in position to distill their own personal approach to lighting design. So who is the lighting designer that we are going to form? It's a professional that can put himself into manufacturers, inside of the technical offices of companies, of big companies, medium companies, or small companies that produce and manufacture lighting fixtures. Or they can be lighting firms, studios that are lighting design studios, and also other situations like technical offices in municipalities and places like that. So why you have to choose this master? You have to choose this master, first of all, if you have a passion for light, because it's demanding, it's also fun, but it's a field that need passion. So you will acquire the elements to be at ease in working with light, to manipulate light very well and without doubts. Then you will know, so you will learn and know how to measure what are the skills that are required to do this wonderful profession. And once you have all these tools in your pockets, you will be available to freely express yourself into a project without any fears of applying your creativity in relation, obviously, to the situation and the place in which you are applying your project. I think I've rushed a little, but that's basically what I had to say.
So thank you, Professor, for the presentation. I'll take the floor again to provide more details about the application process for the next edition of the Master, which will begin in October 2025. On the Specializing Master webpage on the POLI.design website, you will find the full list of required materials for the selection phase. By clicking on the Apply button, you will be able to create your personal account and upload the necessary file. The application will then be completed on the Politecnico di Milano website by uploading the documents related to your academic qualification. If you need assistance during this phase, you can book a call by scanning the QR code. There are two main steps to follow. The first one is the selection step, which must be completed no later than 60 days before the course starting date, and the enrollment step, to be completed within 45 days. Please note that applications are processed in chronological order and spots are limited, so don't wait for the last minute for the application. Additionally, by uploading your documents, you already be eligible to attend the next round of interviews that are scheduled on May 29, 2025. You can find the course fee listed on this slide, along with a mention of the Intesa San Paolo promo that supports talents and provide access to training. So now we can move to the Q&A session. I will read the questions that we received in the chat box. So the first one is, which is the involvement of companies in the master activities?
On the master activities, there will be some intervention by companies and by studios as well. In studios, since as I said, the project will be managed by actual owners of studios. And companies, there will be the possibility of having seminars with them, presentations, and some visit also to their structures. Sometimes they have demonstrators inside of their showrooms or situations that are worth visiting. And some of these companies gave availability of introduce themselves. So it is very useful because it gives to the students an idea of the approach, of different approaches of different companies. So there are companies that are more on the engineering sides, others that are more on the architectural and communicative side. So also beginning to understand how the market works. So what company does what is very important. Also to start building a net of contacts.
Thank you. I have another question. Will we be allowed to have a part-time job during the program?
This is a very common question. We had students that did that. And this is not a very big deal during the fundamentals part, because during the fundamentals, you have to study on your own. So if you are good in managing your time, you can keep up with a job. The issue comes when it comes to the project works, because during the project works, the amount of work is more. So you have to do project, and more than that, you don't have to do that by yourself. You work with other people. So if your job situation is creating you difficulties in managing the job, the possibility of having discussion internal to the group, it's high, because you will not be able to perform at best. We had students that did that. We had students that had not a part-time job, but an actual full job with a tour. But I cannot say that at the end of the master they were fresh and relaxed, that they were definitely tired. And so it's up to you and how good you are in managing your time. Generally, we suggest to focus on one thing at a time. But if you are good at managing time, this is something you cannot exclude. Keep in consideration that you are a student, so you cannot, as far as I know, but probably the offices of POLI.design might be more precise on that. There are limitations of the type of contract that you can do.
So another question related to software. Which specific software programs are we expected to know before starting the program?
Since the master itself is not a computer graphic master, we will not teach every software that is useful for you, for your career. Let's say that we ask generally to students to come prepared to vector graphics such as AutoCAD or equivalent, a raster software such as Photoshop or equivalent, and a 3D software of your choice. So it can be, I don't know, Blender, SketchUp, Cinema 4D, 3ds Max. So the 3D software, you are more useful. Inside of the master, we will see a software called Dilux Evo, which is a software to to check the validity of your project, and Beam Authority, and we use Revit because it's the most diffused, and also we have the licenses for the students that are matriculated with Politecnico di Milano.
Then, will there be a possibility to interact with professional figures such as stage lighting designers?
Stage lighting designers, we have two of the teachers actually that do the models in the fundamentals, that are Giovanni Pina and Marco Zucchinalli. Giovanni Pina is one of the is lighting designer of many of the most known singers in Italy, so such as Tiziano Ferro or Vasco Rossi, and so yes, you will meet some designers, not stage designers because we don't have a theater model, but live stage, yes, for sure.
Thank you. One last question. Which one is the background a candidate should have in order to apply?
The master itself is a first level degree, so we will start from scratches. So you can be an architect, you can be an engineer, and you will have an easy life in different parts of the master in relation of your background. So if you are an engineer, probably you will have less difficulties during illuminating engineering because it is requested to have some basic competences in trigonometry, which is like the base language of illuminating engineering, since you have to calculate angles and things like that. But maybe if you are an architect, you will have less difficulties during the project work because you have a different eye in reading the architecture. If you are a designer, you should be more or less in between these two figures. So there is no we had, during the years, we had many different figures. We had writers, we had journalists, we had solicitors, we had a policeman. So all they had the opportunity of doing the master, and they did a wonderful job. So I don't think that there will be too much of a difficulty. Let's say that for sure, architects, electrical engineers, electronic engineers are the most advantaged because it's the field is full of this kind of notions.
One last question about the classes. Are the classes held all day, 5 days a week?
No, they're held during the fundamentals. They're held 4 hours a day during the mornings from 9 p.m. to 15 past 1. So you have 2 hours, a break of 50 minutes, and then 2 hours. And we try to keep this schedule stable for all the fundamentals. The project works are different because we work with professionals that might have their own agenda or their own personal teaching style. So keep in mind 40 hours divided in 3 weeks. Generally, when it's possible, we tend to keep it in the morning, but sometimes it might be not. So also, if there is a transfer that you are going to see something outside, it might be more than 4 hours, and because of the transfer, then the necessity of using more time.
Thank you, Professor. I think we don't have any other questions, so I would like to thank you, Professor Andrea Siniscalco, for the presentation.
Thank you very much.
And stay connected for the next presentation.